Hey friends, Mr. E here, and today we're looking at an Arbites build with the new revamped Terminus Warrant Keystone. So this build is going to be pretty similar to some things you've seen before, but Terminus Warrant actually ends up being a pretty competitive choice. It's a nice little semi-passive buff. You don't have to think about it too much. It's going to raise your damage, it's going to raise your defense, and it plays very well with some of the weapons on the class already. So before I get started here, reminder to subscribe to the channel and make certain you are staying alert for all the new builds as well as other content about Darktide coming in the near future and beyond. Alright, let's get started here with the Arbites Shock Maul. That's going to be our melee of choice. It's just the single strongest melee on the class. I think it's probably not really a debatable point. The other option you could have here is the Arbites Maul and Shield, although I think this one is just going to win out here because of the strength of those attacks, right? We really want to clobber things hard, and the shield can struggle a little bit with more armored targets. For blessings here, we've got high voltage and relentless strikes. Remember that high voltage triggers when targets are electrocuted, which usually triggers when enemies are staggered. Your heavy overhead attack on this weapon will oftentimes do that for you, but you can force a electrocution by using the weapon special on this thing. And then I use Carapace and Unyielding for my perks here. For my ranged weapon, I'm using the Exterminator Mark III, just the really simple, standard street sweeper shotgun. This gets a lot of benefits out of the Terminus Warrant Keystone, which is going to give you an additional 50% cleave and 50% suppression potential. And this weapon does both of those really well. So you'll see lots of enemies running for cover, and you'll be able to punch much further through hordes. Very nice fit for this shotgun. And then I'm going to use Death Spitter and Fire Frenzy here. Really the only time I'm pulling this out is to clear my way through thick hordes, packs of shotgunners, packs of gunners. You'd be surprised, only a small amount of pellets can kill a lot of those targets if you just start pumping it into them. And don't forget to use your stun rounds as well. That's the really effective tool. You get an extra 6 of them every time that you pick up even a small amount of ammo, so make certain you are shooting those anytime you see a scary target. Just go ahead and hit them with the stun round so you can't play back and then you murder them. Let's check out our Curios down here. I'm using Toughness with Revive Speed, and then Gunner Damage Resistance and Combat Ability Regeneration. I think this is probably the best thing overall. I also have some block efficiency. I think I meant to take a block efficiency instead of that damage resistance. You really don't need the combat ability regeneration a whole lot because we are using a very short cooldown ability with the charge. But if you are not interested in changing your Curios every single day like I am, I just normally just leave that combat ability regeneration on there. Hey, 2 or 3 seconds off of a cooldown, I'll take it to not have to change my Curios every time I run a build. Let's come over here to the talent tree. I'm going to start at the top with a very standard setup: Hammer of Judgment, Force of Will, Up Close, and Walk It Off. This build is all about staying in melee. It's just a melee bludgeon them with the Shock Maul sort of build. We're being fast, we're being aggressive. We are going to be using the Shock Mine because we are going for a Lone Wolf build here. We are not bringing the Pupper. There will be another additional build for the Pupper. Don't worry, he'll be accompanying us with the next build I'm making for Arbites, so he's not being left out. The Voltaic Shock Mine is just super strong. You could also choose the Arbites Grenade. It has gotten buffed recently, so you'll get 5 of these, and you'll have only a 45-second recharge for it. But the Shock Mine is what you'll want to be taking if you're pushing for higher levels of Havoc, especially with the new upgraded intensity. Then we'll come down here and grab Concussive, Suppression Protocols, Breaking Descent, Plasteel Plates, and then of course take Lone Wolf here. We'll come down and grab Break the Line. We're taking Commendation Condemnation, and we're extending our distance to 7.5 meters. This really allows us to get in there and engage. This the distance here is very nice to have. I have been playing without it for a long time, and slotting it back on, I was like, ooh, man, that distance feels nice. We'll come down here and take Hold the Line. We'll take Emperor's Fist and Weight of the Lex. This is, keep in mind, this is 15% all damage for 5 seconds after heavy melee attack. So keep that in mind for a second. Drive them back, which is going to give us Cleave for 5 seconds. This also is all Cleave, not just your melee, but your range as well. And then Final Warning, 15% range damage on melee staggering hits. So think about this. If we come in and we land a heavy attack headshot on a target, we're going to get 15% damage to both melee and ranged for the next 5 seconds. If it hits them in the head, it's going to give them a concussive stack, which means we just counted that target as being staggered, so we'll pick up an additional 15% range. So for the next 5 seconds, if you swap to your ranged weapon, and you start pumping out shotgun shells, you're going to be doing 30% more damage, which is a really, really big buff. Then target of the week here, enemies staggered by your melee attacks take 15% more melee damage for 5 seconds. Just works super, super well with concussive. Helps our whole team to obliterate them. Justified measures over here, and then I'll go out here on the left first and talk about this. Arbites Revelatum, just a really easy damage buff. Zealous Dedication and Soul Guilt Scan, both of these are just so powerful. Like, these are crazy powerful damage increases. And then Rebreather here in the center. The more I play with Rebreather, especially if you're going to be taking this build out and trying to do expeditions where there's so many pox bombers, you're really going to love having Rebreather on. But Rebreather is just so good across the board. Just 20% corruption damage or corruption resistance is good already, but that toxic gas prevention is just, oh man, I can't believe I slept on that for so long. Then Street Smarts and Terminus Warrant. Okay, so let's explain Terminus Warrant really quickly for those of you who are uninitiated and haven't taken a chance to look at it just yet. But basically, really easy keystone to keep up and active. All you need to know is that if you get a single melee hit at, whenever, and then you swap to your ranged weapon, you will then activate the bottom buff, which will give you 10% range strength, 50% range cleave, and 50% suppression for 12 seconds. You don't have to stack it all the way up. There's no minimum requirement with stacks. It's literally just one hit. So just hit a couple enemies and then swap to your shotgun, boom, 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 and then swap back. When you swap from shooting an enemy with a shotgun, you will then get Terminus Warrant's melee buff, which is the top thing up here, which is 10% melee strength and 20% toughness damage reduction, which is great. That is very powerful. And the problem with this build, or the problem with Terminus Warrant in general, is that in order to get it stacked all the way to 20, it takes quite a while. You would have to, you'd have to be like fighting a horde to get it to happen and be active. I just don't think it's very competitive with Obstinate down here and Writ of Judgment. If you wanted to be doing these things, I think you'd be better suited to do Execution Order. But one that's actually quite good is Terminal Decree here. So every time we swap, however many stacks we have, if you've hit like 3 enemies in the head, what you'll get, because a headshot counts as counts as 3 stacks, you'll get 10% of your toughness back when you swap to you and your allies in coherency. So it's a nice little passive boost of toughness that can be coming out all the time. Very helpful to you, helpful to the team, can help them to weather some random damage that's going out. And I think it's a nice little toughness boost on top of that 20% toughness damage reduction that you should have sort of ticking full time. So that's the full build, and I'll show you some gameplay of it here. Just a very fast, furious, just make certain you're swapping your weapons, and it's super fun. I hope you enjoyed, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Mystery out. Bye-bye.
welcome, resistance.
Perfect service to the left in the highest.
We didn't help him up when I charged forward.